Hello, everyone. Hi, and welcome to Teacher's Corner. I'm so excited to have you guys back for a second Teacher's Corner. Thank you for everyone that is coming in. I have two special guests with me tonight. One of them, unfortunately, could not make it because he's a little under the weather, but he will be here next month, so that's okay. We will wait for him to return then. But tonight I have two very special guests that I will introduce. So let's see who I'll pick first.
Yeah, I unmuted myself. I kind of knew. Hi, everyone. My name is Shirley, also known as Back Talk, and yeah, I'm here. I'm ready. I'm a teacher. I teach 7th and 8th grade math and science, and but my real passion is Disney. So I'm just excited to be here and talk about teaching and Disney on the side. But yeah,
Awesome. And we also have Christina. You're on. Is she frozen?
I think so.
Christina. Okay, I'm not sure, but you have the three of us here. This is Christina from Repray Disney, and she is also a middle school teacher. So we got three. Oh, okay, she's gone now. So, and she's back.
Wow, that's a first. This has never happened. Hey, everyone. Hey, guys. I'm Christina with Repray Disney. And yes, I have been teaching for almost 13 years, if not 13 years, something around there. So I currently teach English 8th and 9th grade, but English 8, reading intervention, life sometimes. But yeah, hey, guys.
And we are here to talk about a hot topic in education. Not the hottest, but I feel like it's always a hot topic around this time of year, which is testing. So without further ado, if you don't know me, my name's Morgan. I realized I never introduced myself. My name is Morgan. I'm a 6th grade math and science teacher, and I love all things Disney. So let's go ahead, and we are going to get into it. Yay. All right, so we are here to talk about testing. So if you don't know anything about teaching, testing takes place like every single year. Hi, Tim. Hi, Katie. I was literally just about to message you guys. But testing takes place every single year, and it is some of the teachers' worst nightmare. I believe that the school year should just end after that. That's it. Once you're done, you're done. It's crazy. But so right now, I think some of us are in the middle of testing. I'm towards the end of testing. How about we go around and say where you are in your school's testing format? We're on makeups right now, so we're all done, and we're just on makeups.
Yeah, we're completely done. We're 5 days left. No one's counting, but 5 days left, a couple hours, but we're done. Testing over with like a week or two ago.
We're just getting started.
I'm so excited.
We are just getting started. If y'all didn't, I'm in Virginia, and in my particular county, our last day of school the 17th, but the kids' last day of school is the 16th. So we're just getting started. Our first one is actually tomorrow. Well, our writing test was like back in March, but official testing season starts tomorrow.
Yeah, same. Our writing test was back in April, and that kind of started the downward spiral that is the school year.
We had 2 writing tests. Did y'all have 2 writing tests? We had 2, like a pilot one and then the real one.
We do, for us, the pilot or so forth. I mean, it's just more of a, we do that at the beginning of the year.
We had like a state one. It wasn't even like the district, like the state one.
They do that in my district. They do it like to get them ready so they know like what they're going to
Mhm.
see. They do that in my district in ELA classes. So like ELA classes take like 2 class periods to go through like how to answer the written response, I guess. I don't know.
We did this year, which is weird because we normally do the student growth assessment or the beginning of the year assessment. And for English, it's 2 parts, it's the reading and the writing. But this year, the state also, it was state mandated. They threw at us another pseudo standardized test that was supposed to measure what they knew coming into the grade based on COVID. So I don't know if they're going to continue to do that again next year. It sounds like they might. But
Was
I mean,
it called
good Lord.
NWEA? Curious.
No, ours was, what was it called? It was some other acronym, but essentially the same. It's just
Because
another
that's what we
version.
had in Maryland and down here. We had like a
Mm.
growth assessment test that you take at the beginning of the year, the middle of the year, and the end of the year. But they canceled our end of the year one for anyone that takes the state test. Any subject that takes that state test, you don't have the growth test anymore.
Well,
which really messed some of us up on our
yeah.
growth assessments,
Well,
so.
ours, like I said, the growth assessment piece was fine, but the problem, it's this other standardized. It was based just because of COVID, and the gap between the years. So they were just trying to see another. To me, it's just another way of assessing to make when we get our SOL, our standardized test this year, to gauge whether or not the kids grew and whether or not we should penalize people or not. That's what I think that was for. It wasn't, I don't think it was in the students' favor. So we shall see.
Gotcha. So Tim wants to know, why is testing considered a hot topic? So
because it throws everything off.
Tim,
my God.
It's the worst. It's the worst. And I don't think as a child I ever understood it being the worst thing ever. And now I know it's the worst thing ever as a teacher.
Yeah, for the kids, they're like, oh, we got to do this, we got to do that. Nowadays, a little different. But for us, it's all the preparation. Then on top of that, if they got retakes, and then it's like,
yeah,
it's too much coordination.
So, for example, Tim, I was just telling them about this behind the behind the scenes. I have been kicked out of my personal classroom for this entire week and probably all of the last week of school, from what they're telling me, due to makeups. So that just throws like everything off, because I've been put in a room now that has nothing but computers in it. So there's no desk space, but we can't use the computers because they're in testing mode. And then on top of that, there's no projector, no sound system. So I can't even show them a movie. And I have no pencils because I'm not in my room. So I have literally, like, it's basically sit there and try not to kill yourselves time every single day for the past week. And I am...
That's tough.
That is my limit. Yeah.
Kids without structure and structured time is a ticking time bomb. It is tough. And it's already at the end of the year, so they already got that angst going too.
It's not just the kids too, but it's a lot of pressure on the teachers. I don't know, like at least core subjects. I mean, every teacher has to deal with it, but core subjects, most people don't know this, but a lot of our bonuses, if you want to call it a bonus, a lot of that comes with our performance. So it's not really our performance, it's based on how the students do on the test. So a lot of it is on us, and
you get a bonus.
We're there, we're teaching, we're supporting, but I don't know. And then the weird part is the test is standardized, but we're supposed to teach to everyone in every modality and like accommodate and modify, but then the test is like one size fits all, and yet we have to show growth, otherwise we get dinged in our bonus. So it's yeah.
No, I don't get a bonus. I get my pay. My pay increase every year depends on how I do. So if you get below, if you get developing or under, you stay where you are. If you get effective, you go up like a step. And if you get highly effective, you go up 2 steps.
So do you go based on science though, as an 8th grade science test, or math?
I'm math.
So you get, oh, okay.
So I'm pretty much math, even though I teach science as well. Since 6th grade's not tested, I do math, and this is the first time also, this is the first time I have ever taken state tests and had them count. Because the first time I started teaching, remember, it was 2019, 2020. So we were getting ready for testing, and then the world shut down.
Right.
And then last year I was in Maryland, and they did not take state testing. Every single state opted out of state testing except Florida. So
we
did
didn't.
it last
We
year.
did testing. No. Virginia tested.
You did testing too?
Yeah. It didn't count, but we did it.
Florida's counted.
Oh.
Florida did it, and it counted.
Wow.
Yeah. So Florida did it last year. Was the only ones that actually did it last year where it would count. And so they did it. They all did it last year, but this is my first year ever doing state testing.
I need to go back to the idea of, so they really did. They tied your pay increase. So, okay, is it 2 separate things though? Do you get your general I've been here and I, wow.
Does it go with observations too? Like,
yes,
rubric?
Yes, it also goes with the observation. Yeah.
Wow.
So
okay,
that's wild. Well, we don't get a raise, so
in some districts, Christina. I didn't know that till I came to Florida, because Maryland was not like that. But yeah, so that's part of the reason, Tim, it's such a hot topic in education, is because their scores are tied to our score at the end of the year. So basically, even if your kids have the worst testing experience, for example, half of my kids that will count for my score had to wait an hour and a half for their test this year. Yeah, like I said, it's crazy. While everyone else was testing, so my half that were with me probably did fine. The other half were stressed out for an hour and a half that they didn't have their test, and were running, and time was running. They didn't understand. They got all the time anyway, but they just that's why it's a hot topic. And then on top of that, it induces stress into kids, and it throws everything off.
You are absolutely right, Katie. I mean, in my opinion as well, we test entirely too much. I mean, the whole No Left Behind Act really kind of did a number on us. Just
not in Florida. There are kids left behind in Florida.
But I'm telling you, it's bad.
350 of them.
Really? No. Oh wow. Wow. See,
because that's my program, so I get something out of that 350.
Wow.
For my program next year. Yeah.
See, so back in Texas, we didn't. In Texas, they when I left Texas 4 years ago, it was talk about whether or not to tie that they were going to tie your pay and your performance together. Or performance, I get. Standardized testing is a whole different beast. I don't think that is fair.
I think it only for 20% of mine.
Okay.
Whatever you have, no matter how bad your kids do, it's probably not going to change what you find from your observations. That's what people have told me.
Now that's different. Okay. What
about attendance? Is attendance, because for us, attendance is part of it. A little part of it.
Really?
Not a big part, but it's a little part. And I'm like,
how would you like me to? Is part of it, but I don't know. I don't know about that. About your score or their scores?
It's scores, observations, student attendance, and then surveys, depending on how
student attendance.
Student attendance. Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah.
How can you control student attendance?
I thought it meant your attendance. I was like, oh.
Yeah, I
guess.
And I teach online, right? So you would think, oh, it's great. No, it's not. And then, there's not much you can do, but it's a small percentage, but it's still a percent that shouldn't.
That is not fair.
Yeah.
That is totally not fair.
It's okay. We're going to have one all about teacher evaluations.
All right. I'll keep it.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
coming. It's coming.
It's
But right
coming.
now we're talking about testing. Tim says, gotcha. The kids have to do well to prove that you did well. A lot of pressure. Yes. And I felt that pressure, especially this year, because my program teaches them 2 years in one. So I teach them 6th and 7th grade. But they take the 6th grade test, which you think would be amazing. But they haven't done the 6th grade curriculum since December. Because that's kind of our, all right.
It's also different curriculum. Yeah, 6th grade's very like number sense and.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we went over a lot of it, but I feel like they were just, I don't know.
Hold on. If I heard you correctly, you finish 6th grade material in December, but they don't test until May?
May, yes.
Who and why?
It's my special program. So the rest
No,
of the
but just in general, who in your district decided that that's a good idea?
I think the idea is that they have more time to digest the 6th grade curriculum. And since they are then doing 7th grade curriculum, the idea would be that even if they struggle with the 7th grade, they would still understand the 6th grade.
And this is for science or math?
This is math. This is both.
This is advanced class, right? I'm assuming it's like an advanced,
it's
for
a
advanced course.
Class. Yeah, it's
so they can have 8th grade and then algebra before high school. I think a lot of schools do this. At least my old school.
So my class, I don't think I've ever truly explained this, but my class is for kids who have failed a grade and been held back.
Oh, backwards.
They are back on grade level, and I'm teaching them 2 years in one so they could get caught back up with their cohort. So, yeah.
But see, to Tim's point, when he's saying where the kids have to do well to prove that you did well, there are so many other ways that we can show our kids learned versus, I mean, I have stories upon stories upon stories about testing day and the fact that, I mean, testing anxiety, one, is a true and real thing for a lot of kids. And then on top of that, we can't control the outside forces in which a kid comes into the building. So if that kid didn't get breakfast that day, if that kid got yelled at by their parent, which most of them do, get yelled at by their parent the day of, that sets them down a different path. And to build that pressure on top of that one moment in time, which I'm glad to hear that the rating is 20% and not a bigger percentage, but still, that's still a big chunk to, because I mean, data is data. And I've had kids that are straight A, ridiculously smart kids, and they cannot pass a test, a standardized test. Now, regular classroom tests, absolutely, they can do project-based learning. They can do all kinds of stuff to show their knowledge. But to get them on a standardized test day, they're wetting their pants and they can't do it, and it's tough. It's tough.
Tim, you're so nice. 1000%. Lord knows you all are great teachers, whether or not the test shows it. It is a failure of the test, not the teacher. So, thank you, Tim. And then Katie agrees with you, Christina, there. So let's move on to our first question. What are some things? So this is we're kind of going to get into like the nitty gritty of things that testing can affect and things that we can do. So if you're a first year teacher watching, or a first year teacher watching, and you're watching this on replay, you can definitely use this for next year or the coming year, or if you're in Christina's shoes, next week.
Yeah, tomorrow.
So number one, what are some things you do to get your kids ready for testing? So whoever would like to
Shirley, you want to start?
Sure. So I'm math and science this year. I've been doing math most of my time as teacher. It all starts from day one, and emphasizing, I tell them about the test. I don't like to overdo it, because again, I don't want them to stress out for something that's really not gonna really value how they are, who they are, or whatever. But I do like to be honest with them and frank. And I do work with 8th graders and 7th graders, so I can be a little more honest with them, and I can say like, this is what's going on, this is why it's important, and so on and so forth. And then when we do problems in class, I do talk about like, this is a level 3, this is a level 2, so they're aware of like, this is a really hard question, this is not a hard question, and this is where I should be. And like that, they know throughout the year, am I proficient, or am I highly proficient, or do I need help? And bulking my work like that, they already know the terminology the test is going to use. They already see those problems throughout the year, so when it comes to the test, it's not like a big surprise. They already know what's going on, they know the kind of questions, so they're ready for it without feeling that like big pressure towards the end. It's just like it starts at the beginning and then it slows down, so kind of backwards.
Awesome. Christina?
Oh, we dance. We dance, we party. Really, it is a twofold thing. I think we definitely for sure go over test taking strategies. And I think for English and reading, they're specifically for reading, because every test is a reading test. We discuss test taking strategies and how, when it's, forward questions, and how to navigate testing, because a lot of times that's 50% of the problem, is that they don't read the question appropriately. If it says, which of these did not, they're like, well, I thought it said did, and then,
Yeah.
just those type of things to help.
Even if they bold the word not.
Yeah. Bold it, underline, asterisk. Still, I didn't see it. Okay. So we walk through and talk about how to, just take a test in general. But the other thing is, I tell my kids, kind of like what Shirley said, but I tell my kids, this is not indicative of who you are. I said, quite frankly, after I left school, I have no idea what my test scores were, or what what happened. This is not indicative of who you are. This is mostly, I know I say, as much as I don't like it, this is truly how well I taught you. Okay. And I have them go into it that way. But I think for me, it's building the relationship over the course of the year with the kids, to understand that by the time they get to the test, they want to do well, not for them, but they want to do well for me. And I know it's almost selfish to say, but they do. They try to please me and make sure that, Miss Clayton looks good. But really what it's doing for them is that they're learning and they're growing. So, it's and they just get a sense of pride. They come back, oh my God, I passed, I did it. I'm like, yeah, I knew you could. Like, look, it's gonna look good for you, Miss Clayton. I was like, yeah, I know it's gonna look good for me, but it looks great for you. So
Yeah.
it's the relationship. Because with reading, I think for at least the read, because we have the writing test and the reading test. The reading test itself, I mean, that's a skill that started very young. And so that's something that I also tell my kids, that with, at least with the reading test, you've been practicing reading your whole life. This is nothing new. There's really nothing new there.
Yeah.
The writing test, different beast. But the reading test, there's nothing new there. So they feel a little better about it. But wow, build relationships with kids. That is always going to be my first and number one. Build your relationships, and those kids will wrap the moon for you if you build your relationships.
See, I did it differently. I did not tell them that it affects me at all. I told them that it affects them because it does. Depending on how they score, depends on the classes they are put in the next year. So I told them, if you don't want it, because some of them are in specialized math classes or specialized reading classes because their scores were so low. And I'm like, if you don't want to be in those classes next year, you better like start taking this seriously. And they always have like a practice test online, so I print that out, all the sections, and I have them do it, and then we go over every single question and how to answer it. I do those test taking strategies because, especially on the math, they love the select all. And I'm like, so if they say select all, you know that there's at least 2 answers there. There's at least 2. And then I do the same thing that Shirley does, where I say, this is a level 3, this is a level 2, level 1 type of question throughout the year. Like, this is something you'll expect on the FSA, like, or whatever the test is. So try to help prepare them. And then the day of, I actually give them a pep talk And then during the test, I actually give my personal class, like before the test starts, I give them each a mint. And I have them unwrap it beforehand, collect all the wrappers, and I say, you don't have to eat it. You just keep it on the corner of your desk, but when you are ready, you can eat it. Yeah. So if we have a break that time, I'll do it then. But and I always say, I always tell them, I'm like, guys, honestly, it's just a test. Like, let's just get it done and over with. And I was the first one finished every time because I was like, I'm not being in here longer than I have to be.
Yeah, I do the mints too. That is so fun. That is all. It's funny.
I appreciate that everyone here has a slightly different teaching style. Yes, love that. That's just teachers, I feel like, in general, and also contents, I feel, have different teaching styles too. Because obviously a math teacher is going to act a lot different than, like, yes. If you're nice in math, nothing's getting done. Nothing. If you're all smiley and giggly, they're not taking you seriously. It's going to be like pulling teeth. And then Katie says, teaching kids how to take a test is a bizarre concept. It's like teaching a secret code. Yes, it is. And I always tell kids on a standardized test, if there is an option of all of the above, 9 times out of 10, it will be all of the above. Because why would they put it there if it wasn't? Like,
yeah.
So, yeah. And I always tell them, especially with reading, to go and read the questions first and then read the passage, because that seems to be the number one thing that kids run out of time, because it's a time test. So you only get a certain amount of time unless you have some accommodation of some sort.
Y'all's are timed?
Yes.
Yeah. Our kids get all day.
Until the end of the school day.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
No.
Well, in Texas, they got 4 hours. In Virginia, they get the end of the day.
Yeah, depending on the section, they get a certain amount of time. And then if they have a language barrier, they get all day. And then if they have an IEP or 504, they might get half time and a half or double time. But no, it's 2 hours and you're done.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
So that's why I'm like, I'm always done first, because it doesn't matter if they finish. Time's up.
Wow.
You didn't finish? So sad. Too bad. Moving on. That's what I say. So number 2, that kind of brings us into number 2. What are you allowed to do while they take the test? This is another reason why this is a hot topic, Tim, because if you are a teacher, at least in Florida, it is the most boring thing in the world. I wish I didn't have to do it. Like, really.
We aren't allowed to do anything. You can't. There's no grading, no reading, no computer, no phone. Now in Texas, they were extremely strict on that. And Virginia, as long as nothing happens, no one's coming in to necessarily check my room to see that. But ideally, the testing environment has to remain secure. So no phones, no internet stuff. But all of our kids test on computer online. And so, yeah, they just get that. And then as far as after they are done, I think then that's like more of a district thing. And I think here in Texas, or not here in Texas, in Virginia, here in the district, they still don't get to talk, they have to be quiet, but I pull out puzzles or they can read and I tell my kids, just go to sleep. Go to sleep. I'll wake you up when it's time to go lunch. Go to sleep. But yeah, that's about nothing. You walk around and write a book in your head.
You get your steps in. That's good exercise.
That is true.
Yeah.
This year I got lucky. I'm online, so my students still had to come in person, even though they're online by the state. So they came online. They all went to the gym. We got them started, and then I was able to leave. And then they tested with the testing coordinator, and then I came back and helped with parent pickup. And then so we didn't have to worry about like what do you do when you're done. They just call home and you go home. It was really nice. This year was really nice because it was again online, and they just tested in the gym.
I tested one girl that was online, but in 6th grade it's all paper based. So Katie asked, are Scantron tests no longer a thing? They don't give you like the actual Scantron, but they give you like the question, and then they'll give you like bubbles, kind of like Scantron for the answer. So 6th grade and under is paper based, and then 7 and up is all computer based. So I was lucky enough to be paper. Yay me. And so for us, because it's timed, they say they have to use all of the time. Even if they say they're finished, you are not allowed to take their test. You are not allowed to put them out of the test if you're on computer. You are not allowed to tell them to go to sleep. You are only allowed to tell them to go back and check your answers. But I'm done.
Well, it's 2 hours, so they can do that.
Your answers.
Yeah, it's 2 hours.
Well,
I get that.
Some of them it's 2 hours. Some of them, if you have time and a half, or it's double time, then it's 4 hours.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Do they break it up at least, like in 2 days?
No.
Do they get?
No, because that section has to be done that day. Like if you stop a section, like if a kid gets picked up or something, then they're surrendering that section of the test.
Huh. That's
so we encourage parents not to pick their kids up until they are done thing. And most of them will say that, because otherwise one of two things is going to happen. Your test is graded as is, or your test gets invalidated.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, Tim, no fidget spinners. Fidget spinners are not a thing. Well, they technically
no. But yeah, we were told we cannot do anything except stand there and watch them. Stand there and watch them. And yeah, so that was fun.
I've written all kinds of stories in my head. You just can't.
Yeah. In PA, we were allowed to read. Like the teacher was allowed to read as long as you're like checking frequently. You could.
If you were a monitor in the hallway, if you're a hall monitor, then you could have something to look at. But it was very specifically stated that you could. It's not so engaging that it takes your attention from the hallway.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And then when they're done, they are allowed to talk, like not during breaks, they're not allowed to talk, but like when they're done their tests, they're allowed to, as long as the whole room is done, they can talk quietly, and they can do quiet games in your room because no one else is testing in your room, but they cannot be so loud that the room next to you can hear them.
Yeah, I think for
I
us,
put on movie.
Well, I don't even, if my hallway is still testing, then no, because I'm not going to run that risk. So I make the decision that's where I have puzzles. And with 8th and 9th graders at this point, they just rather go to sleep or, because they can't, they are allowed to have the phone in the room. It just can't be on their person. They can have their backpack in the room. It just can't be on their person. I have them move all their stuff up to the front of the room, and then afterwards, after all the tests are done, then they can get their stuff. And then most kids will either play on their phone or go to sleep or whatever. But I don't let them talk until the entire testing session is done.
Yeah, for phones, we're told to check their pockets, make them turn their pockets out. They're not allowed to wear a sweatshirt of any kind. And you are to check their pockets, like visibly look at them. And if you can see the outline of something, they have to take it out. And they
can't wear a sweatshirt?
Yes. And they weren't allowed, this year was new. They weren't allowed AirPods, watches of any kind, and phones. So.
But a sweatshirt.
Yes, because they could hide it underneath, and then.
So they can't.
So they
like
can't wear
a hoodie type shirt with a pocket, or just a regular sweatshirt?
Well, I mean, during dress code, you can't wear a sweatshirt anyway, but like any kind of jacket.
Dress code, they can't wear a jacket to school?
No, not like during school. Like they can wear it. I mean, it's Florida, so it's like 90 degrees.
We had the same. Yeah, we had a charter. They didn't allow hoodies because of the same thing. It was just too much, like dealing with the earpods. So anything with a hood, not allowed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They can have a jacket that zips down, or it can be a official Parkway school hoodie. Oh well, I don't care. It can be an official school hoodie but it cannot be like you can't wear like, I don't even know. I couldn't wear like a Disney hoodie that doesn't zip down. Like I could, but the kids can't.
Wow.
And that's because of dress code. It goes into like the whole dress code thing. We have to know that you're wearing, they have polo and khakis they have to wear every day.
Oh, they're a uniform. You're in uniform.
Yes, they're a uniform.
Oh, okay. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, never mind. That makes sense.
So during testing, they weren't allowed to wear any bulky clothing because we couldn't see if there was a phone outline or not.
Okay.
And we had 2 kids get invalidated for phones.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. Context.
Yeah. Oh, I thought we talked about that last time, but yeah.
I don't remember.
They're uniform.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tim really thinks that fidget spinners are an intellectual tool. My Rubik's Cube is also a toy. Yes, your Rubik's Cube would be considered a toy because I can tell you exactly what's going to happen to it. You may use it, but then when you give it to your friend's going to tear it into tiny little pieces and throw the pieces around the classroom. And then it's a toy.
Hey, guess what? Was it yesterday or day before? I have never seen the inside of a Rubik's Cube, but thanks to an 8th grader, I know what the inside of a Rubik's Cube looks like. That's why it's a toy.
Yeah, it is a toy. Hi, Megan. Thanks for joining. Dress code for tests, wild. I mean, it's dress code every single day, but I mean, they just told us not to allow sweatshirts, which you really don't need them anyway, because one, the AC barely works in most of our buildings, and it was 98 today outside, so my room was like a strict like 80 degrees all day.
See, and we have the exact different problem. It doesn't matter because my room, when the AC kicks on, is a 42 degrees. And when the AC kicks on, because it's a very old building, so it will be 42 degrees. So yeah, bring your hoodie.
That does remind me of the dress code. We used to have Cambridge testing when I worked for a charter school. And Cambridge testing is very official. We had to like move the desks 6 feet apart. Like we had to go in and measure it the day before. The clock had to be facing a certain wall. You had to put the poster, and then we had to dress professionally. So we had to wear like our most professional clothes for the test. Like it wasn't anything else but that. So I think Cambridge testing was like the most like strict testing. They have to come in and get the test from you and zip them in a bag, and no one's supposed to look at them. Like I think that testing experience was my wildest experience, but that reminded me of that. I had to dress up for testing.
That is wild. That's so crazy. Okay, so we kind of already talked about this, so I'm gonna skip on down to number 4 that I have here. What are some tips you could give someone who is testing students for the first time? And your partner here corrected you 3 feet apart. 3 feet.
Oh,
partner.
First time testing. Okay, so for teachers that are testing for the first time, one, understand that it is a very different experience. The feel, the environment is different. Make sure if you read your testing manual, if you have a question, if you have a concern, don't be afraid to ask. If you're doing a read aloud, meaning you need to read the test to the student, there are certain ways those things have to be read. You just can't just read it and say, okay. Every grade level, every subject has a different way of reading graphics and things like that. So know your testing manual, know the things that you can and can't do, and know who to call for help. Everything else will pretty much take care of itself. Be firm with your kids. If you question whether or not they can have something, err on the side of no, they can't have it. And then find out. It's better to. I mean, really, there's not like dictionaries and things like that. Like, there's not a whole lot. Well, we did too. After every kid, we only let one kid in the bathroom, and then you had to check it after they left. Yes. Whoa. That is a thing too.
I've never done hallway monitoring, so I'm not really sure how that sometimes, but
Yep.
I can imagine.
Yep.
I had a lot of kids coming back. I was like, "You've been gone for 12 minutes. You
'Cause they
wasted
have to
12 minutes
wait.
of your test." And they're like, "Miss, there was a line." And I was like, "A line? What?"
They let in Texas, that bathroom had 8 stalls, and we could still only let one kid in at a time.
Oh,
And you had to go in and check, and then so Lord forbid if they had bubble guts, you still had to check it. But yeah, test taking for a first time teacher is that know what to do, where to be, arrive early to get your testing tickets, whatever.
yes.
Arrive early and bring your snacks. Yeah.
I think for me, for the planning portion, know your curriculum, and then everything else falls in place. So I don't know about most. I think most states have this, but you have your standards, and then you have like your major content. Just be aware of what your major content is. Like it says 100% of the test is this standards, and then they tell you the major content is geometry and expressions. Teach that, enforce that, and then the other stuff falls in. And then instead of doing like spiral review, what I do is a lot of math is connected. So I just connect it when I can, and I do references when I can. And throughout the year, It's like they're getting it. But if you know your content and you know which standards are the ones that have the highest percentage on the test, and you focus on those the most, for the most part, your students will show growth because that's the percentage. So if you know your content and you do engaging lessons that apply to, different modalities, then that's the main thing, I think.
Yeah. As someone who just went through it, I would just say ask as many questions as you need, and definitely go early. And ultimately, like, anything that happens falls on you, unfortunately. Like, if something happens in your room, it's your fault. Like, whether it's like a kid pulls out a cell phone that you didn't catch, or your tests are marked incorrectly, or I don't know, you don't have the correct accommodations. That happened to me. So like, just know what you're supposed to have, and do not leave with that bin until you have it. Because if you leave, you're probably not getting it at that point.
No, testing coordinators do the best they can. Most do the best they can of making sure you have everything together, but it doesn't necessarily mean. I mean, it's 1 to 2 testing coordinators for a school. At least in my case, for a school of almost 1,000 kids.
Yeah.
That's a lot to put on a person. Even if they don't, like at our school, we have like 900 some kids and 1 testing coordinator. So that's a lot to put on a person. So but like she was saying, those things, like Morgan was saying, is that if you don't have those things, or things that happen in your classroom that shouldn't happen, they are not necessarily your fault, but it does come back on you. But it doesn't necessarily mean you're losing your job either. Okay, so don't freak out. Do reports.
Although they'll tell you you're gonna lose your job. Trust me.
There's a shortage. They need us. Nah.
Well, y'all, I taught in a school once where the teacher had prepped the kids and told them, if I stand in this corner, the question is A. If I stand in this corner, the question is B. And if I stand and so that happened. Don't be that person. Don't
But
cheat.
you're not supposed to look at the questions. Like, you're not supposed to look at
No, you're not supposed to. Doesn't mean they didn't. They did. Because when you're walking around, I mean, I've glanced, I've seen them. I haven't read them, but I've seen them. Because you're walking.
Well, for us, for the paper ones, I have to make sure they're in the correct section. So I actually have to like look for the section every time I come around. And then as students start to finish up, I look,
because you have to see they're moving on, especially on those paper tests. You have to check that they're moving on. So if they're on, so it happens. You just kind of see it, but it doesn't mean I'm sitting there reading.
So like, if we like are on session 2 and they didn't finish session 1, they cannot go back to session 1. Like, it is what it is, and you have to make sure they do not go back. So it's that part. They were like, you're not supposed to be looking at. I'm like, but what? I'm also supposed to be doing this, so I'm not sure what to do here.
Just don't cheat.
No. No. But yeah, wow, that's crazy. I've never heard of that.
Oh yeah. I was back in Texas though.
I wasn't even testing I tested some of my kids, but I also tested like a large portion that were not mine. So I didn't really not necessarily care how well they did, but like I was like, meh, doesn't affect me. As long as you finish and you don't invalidate everyone else's test, I don't care.
Yeah.
All right. Here's the good stuff. Your best and worst testing story.
I don't think I have one. Testing in general is just boring. Yeah, I don't have one. I think the best thing from it is seeing growth, not so much like proficiency, but I love when my students go, because sometimes you can see like in the back they show you how they were in 7th grade and 8th grade, and I love seeing like the little bar go up. I'm like, yeah, even though they're still not proficient, but there's a little bar that goes up. I guess that's my best story, but teaching's boring. So not teaching, sorry, testing is boring. So no story. Yeah,
that's unfortunate. I have a good one that happened this year.
So my worst was again how we talked last time with the potty situation. So my worst one is I had a kid who and we were just starting the test. We were just so it wasn't like it shouldn't have happened. But we were just starting the test, and I guess they were just epically nervous. I don't know. I don't know. And in that district, or there was a particular McDonald's that on testing day they gave for students, they got a free breakfast sandwich. So all students, didn't matter, on testing days got free breakfast sandwiches from McDonald's. Like you had to go get it. They didn't bring it, but you had to go get it. And I guess it didn't agree with that kid. Essentially, long story short, they were pooping. It was pooping. It was pooping. Yeah. Now, thankfully, we were just passing out like the cell phone notice and all of that type of stuff, so we weren't deep into test mode. I don't know how much came out, but it was enough to where you're like, ooh, and you kind of smell, like. Tooting and pooping smell different. Your walk is very different. Yeah, that happened. That was probably the worst. And I think the other things, it's just small, minor things. Like you'll hear kids and it'll be quiet. And it's quiet in the room. They're trying to hold it in, but they'll toot, and everybody hears it. You can't hide from it. We've had those, but I don't think I've had a best experience. I think my best experience is probably when nothing happens. Yeah.
Yeah. My worst experience happened this year, and it was one of my own students, which was very unfortunate. She had been out for the first 2 days of testing for the reading test because she was sick, and so she came the next day for the math test, and about halfway through the math test, you're only allowed to let one student out of the room at a time. So she raises her hand and she's like, can I go to the bathroom? And I'm like, I was like, you're in line. Like 3 kids have already asked me, like, you're in line. I'll let you know when you can go. Like, I'll let you know. Just keep taking your test. And then I do like one lap around my classroom. I come back to her and she's like, Miss, I really have to go to the bathroom. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I can't, like, someone is out. As soon as they come back, I will let you go. And she goes, ooh, and she like vomits in her hands, in her mask that she is wearing, all over the test. And I am just like, go. Just go to the nurse. Go. The nurse sent her back 20 minutes later. But and I was like, I don't know what to do. I just like cleaned it. I took it and I just like wiped it off.
The test. Mm-hmm. Did you not? The girl, that's a testing irregularity. No, I'm not touching this. No. We need another test booklet. Oh my gosh.
There were no other test booklets. She didn't get another one. They just said, keep her testing on that one.
Oh, no. We call in the state. I'm like, no, coordinator. Call the state. You know that one person that you have at the district office that calls this, somebody needs to call the state.
Well, then they blamed it on me. They're like, you should have let her go earlier. And I was like, what? But She didn't tell me she had a puke. She just
Yeah.
told me that she had to go to the
Yeah.
bathroom. I just thought
I
she had
Melic
a puke.
Adventures. Yeah.
Hi. So, and also Tim says true words have never been spoken. I need that embroidered on a pillow. And then I also had this year, I had girls that thought sign language would be great to pick up right before testing started. So they're like diagonally across from each other in the room. And they're like, and I'm like, I understand you're both done, but you can't do that. And they're like, but miss, we're not talking. And I'm like,
yeah, you are. You're communicating.
You are talking. Oh,
wow.
Yeah. And I had another kid. It was like very interesting this year. I don't think this has ever happened because I asked other teachers, I'm like, does this normally happen? They're like, no. So I had a kid that would finish in 30 minutes every time. Every time. Finished way before everyone else. And he would go to sleep. And I just was like, meh, whatever. I don't care. You're done, clearly. He snored so loud.
Yeah.
That I had to wake him up several times because
That's
he was like snoring so loud it was bothering the other people. And I was just like, dude, like I understand you're tired, but I really need you to like.
And this is the reason why you bring quiet snacks. Like I would bring like gummy bears, gummy worms, things that are chewable that I could like put on a little napkin and give to them because you do get those. You get the sleepers. And unfortunately, they do snore. Yeah, drool. You know.
I had one kid sleep through the entire test. Like I would wake him up every 20 seconds and he didn't even get a single one done.
Well, see, at that, y'all don't have a process for that? Like, because what we would have done.
I called and they're like, send him for a walk. I sent him for their walk. He came back. He went right back to sleep. Like, he was like actively trying to do the problem. And it was so boring that it put him to sleep.
Oh, wow.
Because it was reading. It was the reading test. And he was like literally reading the passage that was so boring.
Yeah.
It put him to sleep.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, I really need you to be awake right now. But no,
that's crazy.
No. And he came in late on top of it. Ugh. But yeah, so that was my fun testing stories from this year. I don't think like I asked other people and I'm like, I don't think they all told me they're like, really, that's really weird that I've never had that happen. And I'm like, well,
yeah.
I guess I'm lucky then. But I could tell like
fun. I think you are lucky. That makes it more fun. You know, there's at least a little break in your day where there's excitement.
Yeah, but it would be like because we were only allowed to use the time that was on our school phones. We weren't allowed to use the clocks. I don't know why. So I would like handle something and I'd run back over to the clock and then it would be time to like say something. So I'd say it and then I'd just like go back to doing something else. It did make it go a lot more. It made it go more quickly. And those were just in the first 2 days of testing. The last 2 days, nothing fun happens. So it kind of, the vomiting happens on the third day. But the last 2 days of testing, nothing fun happened, and it was just boring.
I have headaches after testing. I get huge headaches because you're just standing there, just doing nothing.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, for me, I start just writing a story in my head, or I will. In Texas, we had to put the countdown time on the board, and so I would try to draw pictures within the numbers and try to make people. I'm not good at it, but at least it broke the monotony of, you have 32 minutes. I tried to make it, whatever. But,
we just put the start time, the end time, and like any break time you have, and then you're supposed to announce when there's like 10 minutes left.
Yeah. See, which is why I feel like I like because in Texas we at 4 years ago now. So if y'all are in Texas and you're watching, you're like, no, we don't do it there anymore. This was 4 years ago. So when I left Texas 4 years ago, everybody tested paper pencil, and it was an accommodation to get to do it on a computer. Well, here in Virginia, everyone does it on a computer, and it's an accommodation to get paper pencil. So there's no need, and they get all day. So there's no need to do the countdown because they get all day. Like they have 2 hours initially, and then we move them if they're still testing. So it's not like,
Yeah.
So, and they all know that, like if you need the time, you need the time, whatever. But I will say, I want to say it was last year, because they get until supposedly they get all the time they need in that day. But somebody had stayed till almost, it was only one of the administrators and the guidance counselor stayed till almost 7:30 with the kid testing.
No, ours cuts off at the
Yeah.
end of the school day. Once
same.
once school's out, like you're done.
Yeah,
you
same.
have to be done. But wow.
I don't know the whole circumstance around that. I just know that they stayed that late. I have a feeling like the kid arrived late. I don't know.
Accommodation.
I just find it odd. It could have been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could have been. All right. Well, we're coming to the end here. And then, I mean, this last question I feel like we've kind of talked about already, but is what are your feelings about state testing?
I get why it's
I
necessary.
mean, it's clearly not going anywhere. This live stream's not going to suddenly like make things change, but
I understand why standardized testing is necessary. I just feel as though that we put a lot of emphasis on it when there's other ways to gauge learning. And especially if we're trying to prepare kids for the collegiate life, they don't do that. You have an EOC, like high school, at least you have EOCs where your end of course that matters. Below high school, like I have very mixed feelings. I hate that the fact that we do it. I don't think that they are equitable across the board. Like Shirley said earlier, in the fact that we're giving the standardized test, but we don't have standardized kids.
Yeah.
We don't. And so I feel like there should be other ways to get that information. We should be implementing those ways to gauge that information, because you figure out all the, like my brother teaches at a private school in Austin, and they don't utilize standardized testing. They use the kids in when they get to the high school portion, they do ACT and SATs. And those kids, like their success rate is ridiculous, and they don't test the way we do, and I get it's tied to funding and but should it be,
Yeah.
So.
I feel similarly. I feel like it's just especially experiencing it as a teacher for the first time this year. I mean, I did it in my student teaching placement, but for some reason it wasn't as chaotic. It's just been it probably was because that was an elementary setting and this is a middle school setting. It is so chaotic. I hate it. It's just like every day it's like, okay, who's tested today? Where am I going? Who's am I picked for testing? And I gonna be a runner today? Or am I just getting someone else's kids? Because so the first week of May, 6th grade tested and they were done. But the 7th and 8th grade weren't. They still had the whole next week. So everyone was in still a testing mode. So I literally had a class for 4 hours straight.
Those are fun days.
Kids for 4 hours. And then on top of that, they put extra kids that weren't testing that day in my room.
Those are fun days. See, I would have brought out popcorn and I would have brought out Percy Jackson's. And yeah. I would have taken all the phones. You still don't get your phone, but that's those kind of sessions,
Well, no, because we're not a testing room, so it didn't like I wasn't required to take their phone because it doesn't matter because they're.
No, I still wouldn't. No, because what happens is you get all those kids and it's an unusual setting for them and they're in there for 4 hours. Things happen on the phone, so I would have made them taking their phone. Right now, we're not going to do that, but we are.
They're not allowed to have their phones out anyway in class.
Oh, good, good.
Yeah, So it's
No.
not even like a.
Yeah, I try avoiding taking phones because then you have to take them to the office, and it's like nah. Like I'd rather just
You don't have to take them
keep
to
it
the
in your
no.
backpack, and I don't want to be responsible for it. I don't want to touch
it
it.
where like the first few times I catch you, I have you put it on my desk and leave it there until the end of the period. I did have a phone jail that hung, and then it fell one day with all their phones in it, and I was like, oh, like my heart dropped. And thankfully, none of their phones broke because it wasn't that far of a fall.
Yeah.
And then, thank you, physics. And then, ever since then, I'm like, you keep it on my desk, or I keep it in my desk.
Mm-hmm.
And then if I have to take it after a certain amount of times, like I think it's 3 times I do, I will then take it to the office, and your parents have to come pick it up.
See, our kids don't use lockers, so when I say take their phone, it's more put them away. You know, I don't.
Yeah, we don't have lockers either, so.
Yeah, we have them. They're just dead space.
Oh,
but they don't use them.
And starting tomorrow, they're not allowed to bring a backpack.
That's happened. We've done that
same
before.
in our school. They do
We've
binder.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, like they're not allowed to bring like
anything.
Nothing.
A pencil? No.
Apparently not, but we're supposed to keep teaching, so I don't know how that works.
Teacher money. You know.
We'll figure it out. I'll figure it out.
It's tied to your bonus. I don't get a bonus, so we ain't getting that.
Well, it's tied to my step increase.
Yeah. Your step.
I wouldn't say bonus,
but Shirley, you get a bonus though? Or
it's probably 301. I think it's government. Kitty, if you're still here, you can tell us more about it. I'm really bad with the details, but it's like performance pay. So I think the state gives each school district X amount of money that they can give their teachers, and the districts get to decide how they want to give it to the teachers, how they're going to allocate it. And to be fair, they create rubrics depending on like attendance, your scores for evaluations, your test scores, and there's like other things depending on the district. Each district's different, and then based on how you do on the rubric, you might get the full amount, you might get like half, and it depends. Like my experiences have been different. In the charter school, we got random amounts, and we always talked about that because one of us would get like 500 and some of us would get like 2,000, so it was like a huge range, and you just didn't know. And the rubric had like 10 things versus my new school that only has like 3 things. So it's really up to the school districts how they want to allocate the money to their teachers, and if they allocate the money to their teachers.
And what state are you teaching?
Arizona.
Arizona. Yeah. So in Florida, at my school district, they apparently did like a huge like step change a few years ago. So now anyone with experience 0 years to 12 years all gets paid the exact same amount. So I'm not moving up in steps till after I get to 12 years. And then so the only way to like get a step increase is like to get highly effective is to get extra money the next year or get a master's.
Why haven't you applied to work at Disney? Like, that is ridiculous.
I didn't know that coming in, and I was like, wait a second, what did I just sign up for?
No thanks. Yeah,
but
wow,
it's great.
A first-year teacher making the same amount as a teacher has taught for 12 years.
It's because they no longer have tenure in my state, which I just learned about that. Florida no longer has tenure, so they're trying to get all the tenure teachers out. That's why that's happening. So a brand new teacher is getting paid the same amount as I am, and I've been teaching for 3 years. But
that's wild. Yeah, we have a cap, so I have like all of these masters that mean nothing because there's a cap.
Yeah.
And once you hit the cap, you're at the cap.
That's it.
Yep. So Katrina says Arizona has a 301 fund. Most add it to the salary scale, but some give out $3,000 tied to your eval score. Her new school gives her $6,000 throughout the year, but our salary is lower.
Yeah, her salary compared to other in the state, it ranges. The range is wild.
Yeah, I get paid the highest in the state, which is $10,000 lower than I got paid in Maryland. But it also, supposedly it costs less to live down here. No longer is that the case, but supposedly when I moved down here, it did.
Okay. I will say, in Virginia, I am making about 10,000 less than I would in Texas. No, 12,000 less than I would in Texas.
Yeah.
I had to get my numbers right.
Virginia, yeah.
Yeah. So, and our district does not pony up. Like I think we were on a pay freeze for 2 years. We were on a pay freeze, and then after that, so when COVID hit, we got a COVID stipend. Like it was like $1,000. Like I think almost everybody got that. And then another year on the pay freeze, they gave us a $500 bonus at Christmas time.
Yeah, they did that for us too.
So everybody just got $500 versus, but
they said it was for inflation to account.
Okay, but when the government got their piece of it, it wasn't much of anything.
True.
It was enough to pay back for the pencils I bought. Because I only buy Ticonderoga pencils, so.
Oh, those are expensive. Yeah. That's quality I am not willing to. I have like 4 packs of Ticonderogas in my classroom, and they are reserved for me. If I catch you with them, you're gonna be in some serious trouble.
Because they hold. They are the best pencil ever.
They are the best.
So
their erasers are never like bad. I buy dollar store pencils, and depending on the brand, it's like either the eraser works or it doesn't. And I'm like, how? Why? Erasers are made of the same thing. How can one eraser work and the other doesn't?
Yes, you are right, Tim. We should make a comfortable living wage and one that will support our Disney habits. So
you're so right, Tim. I wish that was true. I think in Florida they do it because and that seems to be with any job in Florida, they make the statement that there's no state tax, so they can pay us less. Because there's no state tax, we don't have to pay state tax.
Okay.
In Florida, but you have to obviously you have to pay it on stuff when you go to the store, but you don't pay it out of your salary. It's not taxed.
If I remember correctly, Texas didn't have state tax either.
I don't know, but that's what the Florida government keeps saying. They're like, there's no state tax, so technically you take home more. And we're like, but it's now way more expensive to live here. Florida was just voted the most expensive state.
Wow.
Fun fact.
Yeah, fun fact. I don't know how that was calculated, but last year it was the least expensive. Now it's the most expensive.
Wow.
I think it's because I moved here.
Yeah, it's all your fault, Morgan.
It's all my fault. It's my Disney spending habits. They're looking at it and they're like, ooh, maybe it's too expensive to live in Florida.
She doesn't need that new knowledge buy. She doesn't.
No, I actually lost 3 of my lounge buys.
How do you?
Story for another day. I don't know. They're gone. They're nowhere in my apartment. They're just gone.
Wow.
You don't broke the state, Morgan. I know, Tim. I know.
That's state. Yeah.
But all right. So that is pretty much, that's all the questions I have for us today. Does anyone have any other questions, testing questions they are dying to know from the insider point of view? I think we answered a lot of them today. And I tried to incorporate story time because I know that's everyone's favorite. No? Practicing wait time.
All right. If you do have a question and you're not on the live, leave it in the comments below or in the comments, and we will definitely check back randomly. Hopefully get you an answer.
Yeah. Hopefully, when I get my life together. I'm notorious for looking at the comments and not responding, but responding in my head. But I'm gonna try to be better about that this summer. So we'll see how that goes. But thank you guys all for. Seems like I asked a lot of questions along the way and learned a lot. I'm glad, Tim. But thank you for all of those of you that joins. Get the words out. We thank you guys. I will have more guests on next time. Let me look to see what the topic is. Does anyone remember off the top of their head? Because I don't.
Wasn't it what do you do in the summer? How do you prepare for the summer or something like that?
I think so. It's something.
I know I will not be on next month because next month we will be we're moving, and on the 20th, right? It's on the 20th? No, it's on the 19th.
It's on the 15th.
On the 15th.
June.
Oh yeah, we'll still be moving. So
I had you on for then.
Was it June?
Yes.
I don't know when we're taking our internet. I don't know when we're getting rid of our internet. I might be. I'll let you know when we get closer to time.
Well, the next one is going to be on June 15th, and it is about the end of the year. So it is not about summer just yet. It is about the end of the year and some of the things that people do for the end of the year. I have a great video that I will be filming.
Oh, I got stories.
Yes.
Oh, I got end of year stories.
Of course. Stories, of course. For Shirley, she will have ended long ago, as well I will be ending long before then, and be into summer school then.
And on June 15th, I will still be in school.
You will still be in school. So it will be perfect because it will be near the end of school for you. So we will see you all then. Hopefully Jake can join us. He was sick today, so unfortunately he could not join us, but his channel is linked down below. Shirley's is linked down below. Christina's is linked down below. They're all linked down below. Definitely go check them out because they are awesome creators, and I'm going to give them the spotlight to tell the world what is coming up on their channel. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So for on Repray Disney, right now it's not a whole lot. We have a part of the CCPP, the Celebrating Collections, People, and Pins that just dropped on the 17th. But right now I'll have a few unboxings, I'll be in the Turning Red with Teacup for One. Matt over at Teacup for One, Matt, he's doing a collaboration, and that'll come out on the 23rd. Outside of that, it'll just be some other things. We're going to be chill through the summer because we are moving. We're moving from Virginia to Texas over the summer, so we'll be taking a little bit of a break. We won't see as much, but then hopefully things will ramp back up once we're settled. So yeah, just join, watch, enjoy.
And you will be coming to see me.
I am. Yes, that's right. So the week of June, we still have to figure out what we're gonna do.
We do. Yeah, it's okay.
I'm telling you, I really want to do the Grand Floridian. So the Beauty and the Beast bar place.
We'll do it. We'll do it. All right. And Shirley, what do you have coming up?
So I had a lot of things that just happened. So I went to Disneyland for 3 days for my birthday, which I've never gone that long.
Happy belated birthday.
I think. So that's all out. I went to Star Wars night. That's all out too. That was a lot of fun. And then upcoming, Kitty and I actually from the comments, we're going to go on a cruise. So you'll be seeing that. I'm excited, but not because it's not a Disney cruise. So I'm just going to be judging it. I already know because I'm going to be comparing it to my old Disney cruise, but we're still going to have fun. And then we're going to go to Disney World, and then my husband's going to meet us out there. So I'm just going to be in Florida for a while in June. So I have exciting content coming.
Wait, when in June?
Kitty, like the 5th. Well, we'll be in, let's say the 12th. Give it a week, the 12th to the 19th or something.
We all should meet up. We need to do a meetup.
That works out.
Yeah.
Summer, teachers on vacation.
We have to meet up. Shirley, I have to meet you. Finally.
Epcot around the world? No, that's like my thing. That's my favorite thing.
Oh my gosh, I go around the world.
Wait, you said the 12th through the 19th?
I think so. Because if we have the thing in the 5th, and then you add 7 days, that's the 12th. Yeah.
Okay, because the 19th, so you guys would be leaving and we would just be coming in. Because we come in on the 18th.
You'll take over my room. No.
Darn. All right. Well, and then on my channel, you guys know you're right here. You're already here. We are trying to hit 500 subscribers as soon as possible. I have a great giveaway already planned. Things are already on the way for it. So you'll have that coming out soon. I do have a collaboration with Matt from Teacup for One. I'm in that collaboration as well for Turning Red. So you will hear all of my thoughts and opinions on Turning Red because trust me, I love sharing my opinion with you all. We got Pin Wednesday every Wednesday, and I have a bunch of packages over here to open for you guys. And I have a very special announcement, which you'll only know if you watch this live stream all the way to the end, or if you follow me on my Instagram. There's a little plug. It's linked down below. Go follow me. I am going to Universal for an exclusive event that I promise you no other YouTuber will be going. No other one. Because it is what is called Grad Adventure. So I am going as a chaperone with my 8th graders that go to my school, and we get the entire park to ourselves. Well, not to ourselves, but all the 8th grader classes in Florida get Universal to themselves. Wow. And I will be going as a chaperone, which means I get free exclusive lounge stuff. I get an exclusive lounge for my school. I get free food. I get free fast pass and other perks throughout the park. And I am going to share it with you guys all on my Instagram on Friday. And comment down below if you want me to go live and show it to you all, because it is from 5 all the way to 1:30 a.m.
Oh, wow.
So it's going to be something else. I'm so excited to go. So comment down below if you guys want me to go live, and I'll share that experience with you because it is a very exclusive experience. Like, they kick everyone else out of the park, and it's just the 8th grade class of Florida that is there. So it's going to be super fun and super cool, and I can't wait to go, and I can't wait to share it with you guys. So definitely comment down below if you want me to go live on my Instagram. Probably not my YouTube, but on my Instagram, I'll go live. And I'll put that up there. So if you watch to the end of the video, you know. Or if you follow me on my Instagram, I'm going to announce it tomorrow. But Friday at about 6 o'clock probably, I'll start posting about it. So there you guys go. And that's it for this Teacher's Corner. Like I said, join us on June 15th for end of the year stories and galore, and we will see you then on June 15th, and I will see you back on my channel on Saturday for another video. And as always, have a magical day. Class is dismissed. Bye.
Bye.